See, what's up, everybody? It's Lukie. Back on. We got Dakota, and we got a great guest. Why don't you introduce yourself, Stephanie, the cool girl, Steph. Let the world know kind of this upcoming fight you have February 10th.
Great fucking nickname, by the way.
Thanks. Hi guys. So I'm Stephanie Chavez. I go by cool Girl Steph for boxing. So I got a good fight coming up February 10 in Long Beach. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, man, it's a formidable opposition. I was doing some research. I know I shouldn't do that in boxing because you're supposed to wing it and kind of not know what you're talking about. But coming off a majority decision to Suleiman Rabina, this is someone who's been in very tough. Though the record might not show it, do you see her as a very formidable opponent based on the quality of opposition she's been in with?
Definitely. I take any opponent I get as a tough opponent. It's boxing and anything can happen in boxing, you could be the best and get caught with the shot. So of course, I see her as a good opponent, and yeah, I take her very seriously.
Okay, that's good. I find your story interesting from the little bit of research I did. You originally were a volleyball player, but then converted to a boxer, that I understand. Can you kind of shed light on that to some of these viewers and stuff?
Yeah, so my journey in boxing started, you can say kind of late, but kind of young. I was still in high school, exploring options. My brother joined just to train and to get in shape, and I was still in volleyball, so I was just, I've always liked sports, so volleyball was fun for me. It's a very fast sport, it's a very aggressive sport. So once my brother joined, I walked in and there was only one girl in that gym, and I was like, these workouts look so fun, so different. I've never seen anything like it. So I was just very curious and interested, and I just decided to join, and then started training harder. I started seeing good results, so I was like, why not? Why not just take boxing and give it a chance? It was very, very unexpected, but amazing results.
Decision to go to national tournaments. I mean, a lot of people train at boxing gyms, but they want to be local jokers. Like, why would you want to step your game up and really compete against the best?
So, because my coach, EJ Llmadio, I started training with him, and he was like, you have good speed, you're coming in every day. You can say I was progressing every time I would head to the gym. So he's like, why not give the amateurs a shot? At first, I didn't really know much of it. I was just going with the flow. And then once I started competing and started taking my training more seriously, I just fell in love with how boxing worked. It was fun. It was a very fun sport for me.
And correct me if I'm wrong, your boyfriend's also a professional boxer. So let's get into that aspect, because I mean, that's kind of like a unique story in and of itself. So it's like relationships in boxing aren't always that common. And then, they're both boxers.
Yeah, my boyfriend is a boxer as well. When I met him, he was boxing, so it started off as a friendship, you can say. He started helping me learn his ways, learn his movement, and we just ended up being together. So a lot of people they find that very very unique, and it works for us. Learning how to work together as a team and keeping it business, and then being together as a couple, it actually makes us stronger in all aspects. So whenever I need a backbone, he's there, and then when I need a person to talk to about my fights or what I have in my head for boxing, he's there. So for us, it just works amazing, and I'm very blessed to have a my partner that's in the same sport as I am, so he could easily understand what I go through, what I'm feeling. He's there to understand and just help me out.
Well, and not a lot of people in general, let alone boxing, have a partner that knows almost exactly what they're going through. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
To be able to identify with that struggle like that.
Yeah, so that's one of the most, I think you can say, special things to me, is that he can relate a lot to what I have a hard time with, or if I have this on my mind and I need help, he can help me because he understands how it feels to be in there, and he knows exactly how it is. So yeah, it's very helpful.
Also the lifestyle component. Like, obviously, you guys are probably not turning up, eating pizza, going, like, doing things that, like, young people do that are in the fitness community, because that's the unkept secret. Like bodybuilders also get turned up on the weekend, but then they lift weights every day. Boxing, you live like a monk, but you train like no other athlete. It takes like this year-round lifestyle. It's not just a sport. How does that play into the relationship?
Yeah, exactly what you said, we don't have the free will to, just skip gym and then, gain weight. We have to stay on our schedule. We have to stay in the gym. So we find a good balance. We love to eat. So we find a good balance in, getting in some workouts every day and then go enjoy some time off, like a day or two. It's very, very hard. It's very challenging, but, we make it work with what we have. So we definitely take the time off that we get, like a day off, just to enjoy ourselves and do whatever we'd like to do.
And for those unaware, your boyfriend's one of the best national fighters of the past decade or so. He's a dominant national champion, good professional too. It just kind of shows like the unfairness of boxing. He's very decorated, but he's not getting the same opportunities. But that kind of speaks to boxing as a whole, is equitable treatment is not guaranteed. Let's get back to you though, is when you get an opportunity like this, fighting on a card against a good opponent, et cetera, I feel like in women's boxing, you're always 1-2 fights away from a world title fight. Is the point here to be dominant and get yourself into a compelling, great fight?
Yes. I like to take my fights, you can say, like a step at a time. I know I have a lot of growing to do. It's never enough in this sport. There's always many more great women out there, and there's many more great women like climbing. So to me, I take every fight I get, every opportunity I get very serious. I take my time in making sure I'm ready for this fight, because you have to go in there 100%, and each fight counts. And sometimes it might not go as we planned, but it's part of the game, mentally being ready for anything that happens. So yeah, each fight I take it serious, and eventually I would like to get up there with great fighters, one of the top, score a belt. It's a very challenging sport. So for me, I take every single fight I get serious.
Well, I think the fact that you made it to the Olympic trials speaks to something that you're gonna fight for a world title. As long as you stay active, you will get that opportunity, because I look at the list of people you fought. The only people that I see you losing to in the amateurs are the world champions now, or the people about to be a world champion. So it seems like it's inevitable that you're on that path. And that's why when this card came up and we were talking about who to bring on, I wanted to bring you on, because you seem to be someone that has the trajectory of being a world champion, not just a contender. You're on that trajectory. Maybe speak to that grind of how you get to this point, because you're speaking in a language of, I'm on that trajectory, but I'm not quite there yet. Help me understand this process of developing into a champion.
Yeah, like you mentioned, I've been in the ring in my amateur careers with very amazing, amazing fighters, one of them being Christina Cruz, Ginny Fuse. Yeah, those are very good fighters. Even former former fighters that have just tried out for the 2024 Olympics, Jasmine Hampton, those are all top fighters that I've experienced being in the ring with. And I honestly can say I've learned a lot from that, and I will be very, very excited to share the ring with them in the future. I definitely see myself rematching them again, in the pros. It's going to be an amazing fight. And yeah, I know my level of boxing is very, 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 you can say, well, I call myself a boxer. So I say it's like, I want to work on in all format. I want to work on my footwork, my head movement, my defense. So I want to work, all of my techniques and perfect them, and eventually get a good title shot in the future with these good girls. And I honestly think it's going to be a great fight for me. And not only that, just seeing how much I've improved from the Olympic trials to being in the pros now. It's a very different feeling, because the amateurs, we get just 3 rounds. The pros is 10 rounds. We get more time in the ring, we get more rounds, we get it's just a whole lot of different things that change. So I think it would be a good opportunity for me in the near future to fight these good girls. It's something I look forward to.
I'm just looking over your amateur record. I see Charamaine Patricio. She's inevitably going to turn pro. That's going to be a good fighter.
Mhm.
I look there, Christina Cruz. If she happens to beat Fundora, that's a fight that could be out there sooner rather than later. Fundora's out there. Marlon Esparza's out there. Jenny Fuchs, who you've got history. There's a lot of names, and I think the advantage
Yes.
you have is a lot of these names are older than you in many instances. So, like, you're going to be the person that has more time to develop, and they're going to be looking for someone that's going to make an interesting, compelling matchup.
Yeah.
Steph,
Yes.
what weight class do you fight at?
So I'm currently fighting at 115 right now. I know I can make a lower weight. I'm eventually gonna try and shoot for 112. You know, that's a good. I've been fighting at 112 my whole amateur career. I've done 119 before. I think just for like a few fights, like 2 or 3, I'm not sure, but the weight I'm looking at is 112 for me for like a good world title.
And what are some of the fights that you aspire to?
Like some fights that I look up to, or
Yeah, in the future.
Saying, like, who does he see? I'm going to translate from my guy right here. I think that he was trying to say, who do you possibly see being like your big fight, the compelling fight on television? Is that what you were saying, Dakota?
Yes, sir.
Translated properly.
I would love to be in the ring with Seniesa Estrada. You know, she's I look at her style, you know, she's very unique. She's worked hard to get where she's at, and she's just so skillful all around. So if I'm able to share the ring with Seniesa Estrada and, you know, eventually get a shot with her whenever the time's ready for me, that's going to be one of my most like achieved things one of the most things I look forward to achieving is, you know, sharing the ring with the Seniesa Estrada. She's one of the best fighters I've seen in a smaller weight class. You know, she's gone through so many challenges and she's doing really amazing, and she's a really good fighter. So that's one of the most exciting fights I would look forward to having in the future.
One of my favorite fighters in general, men or women. Pioneer comes out to the Alicia Keys song. This girl is on fire. It's a trademark. I love a trademark fighter. Embodies, I think, a feeling of like East LA that she doesn't get credit for. Like, she really speaks to something that I think resonates with a lot of young women in particular.
Yeah, I love her style. You know, I love the person she is. I always go back to when I got to spar her. I got to spar her for one of her fights, and I'll never forget the experience, the knowledge she gave me with just those 2 sparring sessions I had with her. She's a very humble person. She's hungry, you know, she works hard for everything she gets. She's a very sweet girl too. So that's something I look up to in her. You know, she's a great fighter. She's mean in the ring, but outside of that, she's a well put together woman, you know. And I think that's a lot of things that these girls look up to, and she always says that, you know, she wants little girls in the future in boxing to look up to her, and she just wants to make a story for them. And I honestly understood her story, you know. I think my boyfriend had shown me interview, or I think it was like a story that not a story, a comment that she made, like how it was a hard time for her in boxing, and, you know, she was about to quit, but she just kept going and kept going, and look where she's at now. So I look up to her story a lot, because in boxing it's very hard. It's a very hard sport, but you have to stay and you have to believe in yourself, believe in your team. So I just love how, you know, Seniesa's story kind of, you can say, relates to mine. I look up to her a lot. She's a very good woman, and you know, nothing bad to say about her. She's one of my favorites.
It's pretty friggin' cool. That's pretty friggin' cool.
Well, and it's especially hard too when you're so dominant and she's at a super low weight. She fights at 105, 108 sometimes, and like there's not that many compelling matchups for her, but she's just such a standout. You know what I mean? Just walking everybody they put in front of her.
Yeah, that's she takes anybody that they offer, she's ready to go with it. So that fearless attitude she has when it comes to her boxing is something that I look up to, because again, it's a very hard sport. So yeah, I just love how she carries out with that.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. It's like her and Inoue to me you like start thinking of like crazy weight classes. So you'll be like, oh yeah, she fought at like 126, maybe that. And you're like, none of these other fighters, you think, oh man, like I guess Terrence Crawford's in that category. Oh, if he fights Canelo, it's like you make him go 8 weight classes up or 4 weight classes up. It's the sign of greatness to me, is like when you have to like envision someone so much bigger to cause
Yeah.
a problem. Okay. Speaking of Inoue, did you, I believe now, half-baked research, I get this stuff wrong all the time. Your boyfriend sparred Inoue, you've traveled to Japan. People love hearing Inoue stuff. They love to click on that stuff. Do you have any memories of that?
Yeah. Inoue is one of my favorite male boxers besides my boyfriend, you know. Just because again, he's such a monster in the ring. You know, I've seen him spar with my boyfriend. You know, my boyfriend's very skillful, and even being in there with Inoue, you know, we always pick up something new. He's a very, very nice person outside of the ring. Inside of the ring, he's a very you know, he's a beast. So I also I love the way that his training is. You know, he works hard. We've got to see him during his training camps. You know, we sparred with him, and I just it's amazing. It's amazing to see how people don't understand. You know, they always go for him because of his size, because he's small. Um, to me in boxing, he has proven that size is nothing. You know, he packs a punch. He has the speed. He has he has a different mindset when he goes in there. He has a good game plan, you know, and just seeing him perform and honestly seeing him with my own eyes in live is in person, it's very different. It's amazing to see how some people can doubt Naoya, and he obviously has a lot of fans, but when it came to him fighting Nonito Donaire, when it came to him fighting Cool Boy Steph, they doubted him, and I just love to see how he just focused on himself, trains hard, you know, believes his team. He has his team there believing in him, and he's a very, very great fighter and very, very great person. I will always have him as one of my favorite fighters of all time.
Well, that's pretty friggin' cool. Not as cool to bring this one up, but I'm curious, and I ask genuine questions. Obviously, your boyfriend kind of had a rough last fight. How has that been kind of just as the team and also as being his partner? How do you guys as a team kind of get back after that? Because it's like those moments happen. And I think a lot of people deal with loss, whether it's a fight, whether it's losing a family member. I think oftentimes with interviews, we kind of tiptoe around the things people want to hear because people do grieve. People do have setbacks. But I think the definition of a person is how you come back.
Yeah, of course. You know, nobody wants a loss, and especially in a sport, you know, this sport's only a one winning sport, you know, one person can win in that ring. So I think for us and the way we prepare ourselves is like, you know, we have to go in there, give it all we got. Um, and just know in boxing anything can happen, you know. Unfortunately, you know, he did get knocked out, and we've never experienced that before, you know, not even in the amateurs. We never experienced anything like that, but you know, we learn from it, and it honestly makes you a stronger person. It also depends how you take it. You know, some people don't grieve with a loss as easy as others. So I think as a boxer, you have to have that mentality of knowing that one day, you know, you can lose. You can lose by points, by the scorecards, or you can lose, you know, by TKO. So I think it's something very hard to take in, but if you're mentally always prepared and you know you're willing to learn from a loss and just grow and get stronger and get better, it's never going to break you, it's only going to make you better. So I think our way of, like, you know, supporting each other, we always talk about these moments. Even if we win or lose, we talk about what could happen, you know, how we can prepare ourselves for it, and always going in there 100%. So you know, some things don't go as we want, but you know, it's always you can say everybody's story is different, you know. So maybe not having the undefeated record is yours, but you know, it's all about if you quit and or you continue to you know, thrive and not quit off that loss. You know, you just have to keep pushing yourself to get better. So yeah, I think you can say this loss wasn't really a loss, you know, if you learn from it. So yeah.
And just to say, what I'll say is it's a former world champion. It's a very good fighter. He could have been at the end of his career, but he's still a very good champion. And I think the problem is that Floyd kind of sold people on this dream that to be a great fighter, you have to be undefeated. And if you look at any other era of boxer, guys lost. And it's just in this modern era, people have been basically lied to be a great fighter, you have to protect a record. Where me and Dakota say, to be a great fighter, you have to take great fights. If you're not taking great fights and you have a great record, we honestly don't care, because all you're doing is protecting a record.
And how many of them actually retire undefeated? Everyone basically loses at some point.
Yeah, in this game of boxing, I guess you can say my way of seeing things, because I started boxing late, and you can say it's probably just the way I see it in my perspective is like, to me, an undefeated record doesn't mean you're one of the best, because there's many, especially for women, there's many great women out there that have losses, have draws, and they still hold a good title. They still make it to the end. They still, their story still, you can say their story still pushes people to be just like them. So to me, the record doesn't really matter. It matters how you take your story with boxing, the fights you take, like you guys said, the people you fight, you got to fight the best to be the best. And if it means losing and then taking another great fight, that's what it takes. So I definitely do agree with that. To me, undefeated records don't really mean anything. It's all in the work that you put in with those fights that you take.
Yeah. My last question I have for you is just Michaela and Jonas just fought. I was curious if you watched it and you had any perspective from a fight.
I didn't get to see that fight, but I will watch it after, after we finish this interview, but I didn't get to see that fight. But you see, I love how Michaela Mayer is, she did lose her fight, but her other fight before this one with Jonas, she has a great way of telling her story and how she's gonna continue no matter what. So I look up to that too, because again, in this sport, sometimes a loss can break you, and I'm just very happy to see her just continue, and she doesn't care what anybody has to say. Probably even like probably some fans have to say like, oh, it's her time's over or something, because a lot of people say that once you lose, they think, oh, it's over for you. But I just love to see that she's still thriving, she's still fighting, and she wants those titles, so she's not going to stop till she gets them. So I'm actually going to be very excited to watch this fight.
That harkens back to something I was telling my girlfriend today. We were talking about how, like, I was like, there's a guy on this undercard, Jack Cullen. He doesn't really win all that often, but they like the British people just love coming out to see him fight. They just love it. He's fun. He smiles. He sometimes he wins, sometimes he loses, but he leaves it all out there. In America, if you don't win every time, it's like people are like, he's not that good.
Yeah.
And it's like we're the most unhealthy country in terms of athletes. I was thinking about with like LeBron. It's like he goes to the finals when I was younger. Every time people are like, he's not that good. He doesn't win it. He's going to the friggin' finals.
Yeah.
For a decade.
Yeah, I totally agree. Sometimes the comments don't matter because they don't even know how it feels to be in the ring. So to me, obviously you like the positive comments, but sometimes the negative comments can get to you. But like what you said, it's all about the person, if they're having fun in there or not. So I think that's all that matters.
Well, those are my questions. Cool girl, Steph. Dakota, do you have anything else?
I think that's all I got, but good luck in your fight, and we look forward to seeing you in the future and seeing you in some.
Promote your fight, like hustle some tickets.
Yeah,
4 or 5 people, give out a code, let them know what time it is, let them know when to show up.
So my Instagram is coolgirlsteph with 2 H's. I'm gonna be posting. I post the tickets I have available, so I'm still selling some. If anybody's interested in buying some, just go ahead and DM me. I will be posting today. I often don't post on my Instagram, but I'll be posting for my fight. Obviously, I'm promoting it. So yes, February 10th, Long Beach. I'm excited. So it's gonna be a great fight.
So what's your social media then? Are you like a TikTok person?
I'm more Instagram. I use Instagram, but I don't use it like I don't really post, my boxing. I just I'm kind of girly, so that's the thing about people. Like they find it kind of funny because I don't post all of my workouts. I don't post my fights. I mean, I post a couple after I fight, but I'm not really always posting. I'm always just working outside of social media. But Cool Girl Steph is my Instagram. if you guys are interested. 2 H's at the end. Cool girl, Steph. So yeah.
Yeah, don't follow the wrong one. Follow the one with double H, and just be yourself. I think that's my advice as a veteran of life is like, if you're just a girly girl or whatever, don't be unapologetically who you are. The
Yeah.
worst thing you can do in life is try to be what you think the world wants you to be, because then you're going to be what nobody wants you to be.
Yeah.
And
Of course, I
there'll be
agree.
another young fighter that sees you doing that takes inspiration from that. You know what I'm saying? The authenticity.
Yeah. I've always been that way, you know. Same thing with high school, you know. I know it's a lot of you can say they look forward to you promoting a lot of your boxing, your sport. Eventually I'll get there, you know. If the follows come, they come. But I'm more focused on outside of that, you know. I keep my training serious. So I'm actually glad that a lot of people enjoy my you can say my boxing style, and they when they follow me on Instagram, they're like, "What? Where's all her boxing?" But you know, you have to see me when I fight in order to, you know, see the boxing. That's the way that's the way that I put it.
So make sure you tune in.
It's pay-per-view.
Yes.
You know, buy your ticket, buy your stream, go there. That's how you got to see it. You don't get any free
Yes.
internet stuff. Well, you've been a great guest. February 10th, Long Beach, California, Thunder Studios. Tickets are available on your Instagram page. You're
Yes.
fighting Haley Pasion, I think, off the top
Yes.
of my head. Okay, there it is. It's a great fight. It's going to be exciting. Come out, tune out, all that stuff. It's going to be great. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Take care.
There you go.
Bye.
Yep, there you go. Okay, now we're back to what we're gonna do. There we go. So, cool
Great
girl, Steph. There we go. That's a wonderful guest. Isn't that a great guest that we just had?
She was